Good afternoon, everyone. And we are live here. And welcome to my live broadcast. My name is Angeline Constantinou, and I am the founder and CEO of Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. So welcome to my live broadcast. I have a very special guest and a very good friend of mine who is going to be my guest today. We are going to be talking about how Karl claimed victory and triumph and he's going to be sharing his story, and I am really, really super excited about that. So Karl is an author, mentor, coach, and speaker, and he is a 40-plus year entrepreneur who has spent the majority of his life in the pursuit of personal growth and development at the highest levels. So Karl is a published author of several books with more projects currently underway. As a mentor, trainer, and coach in the goal setting and vision building arena, he takes his audience on a journey through easy to follow and understand methods to simplify the process and break it down into bite-sized pieces. So Karl has written a true life story of his life-changing injury that we are going to be talking about today, that created a new path to that of a teacher and advisor, assisting people with their struggles and challenges as a result of traumatic and unexpected injuries and accidents. So this is a story from trauma to triumph. So without further ado, Karl, welcome.
Good afternoon, Angeline. It's an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be here today.
Yes, it is. It is. It's on a Monday afternoon. What a way to start the new week, right?
I'm speechless. I had no idea I was that talented. That's amazing. Who wrote that? Oh, wait, I wrote that, didn't I?
Yeah, you wrote that. Yes, you wrote that. You are multi-talented. And, Karl and I have had the pleasure of meeting through the Change book series, which is the largest personal development book series in the country,
in the world, really. Yeah.
In the world. And you're one of the published authors, and I'm one of the published authors of this amazing book series. So I am super excited because Karl and I have collaborated, and Karl is going to be sharing his journey on my podcast, which will be live, by the way, on Wednesday morning at 7:30 a.m. So my podcast is Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. So please go to Spotify, Google, and Apple, like and subscribe, and we would love a rating and support. And this will also be live on my YouTube channel, which is Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. And if you would like to receive resources that will equip and empower you on your healing journey, please go to my website, which is letsbreakthesilence.com. There are announcements of live events and everything. So we're live right now on my personal page, on my Facebook fan page, which is Let's Break the Silence. And let us know, please, where you are tuning in from. If you're watching the live, please hashtag live. If you are watching the replay, please hashtag replay. So, Karl, your story really, really inspires me. A Limb for a Limb. I love the title of the book. And I know at one point you went through a traumatic period in your life. So tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. It's kind of funny, and it's an old adage or old cliche, whatever everybody talks about. No good deed goes unpunished, and something that I'm trying to create in life is no good deed goes unappreciated. We just need to change the verbiage on that one. And sure enough, it was a good deed. It was a Saturday afternoon. I've got some dear friends that live around the corner that had a 100-year-old oak tree in their backyard with a great big branch that was sticking 20 feet out off the side of the tree, and they were a little concerned about it, and they were concerned about how to get it down. And my buddy had already kind of started whittling at it, for lack of a better term, and he went back off to work. And me being the good Samaritan, good neighbor I am, I went to work on it. And I was using a 8-foot pole saw. So I was about 12 feet away from the tree and about 8 feet behind the tree.
Wow.
When this branch left, it hit the ground. It had kind of like an elbow in it. And when it hit the ground, it bounced backwards. And in the blink of an eye, my life changed. Everybody says, "Oh, you lost your big toe cutting a tree. What was it? The chainsaw?" No, it was the branch.
Wow.
It bounced and literally just removed my big toe in the blink of an eye. Now, this was the end of September of 2019.
Okay.
So with tears in my eyes, 11,
tears in your eyes. I'm like, geez.
Literally and figuratively, tears in my eyes. My wife hauls me off to the emergency room where I spend the night in the hospital and in some of the most excruciating pain I've ever been in my life. To have the doctor come in and say, "Oh, we think we might be able to save this," and da da da, and I'm saying no. Get rid of it. So, a limb for a big toe didn't sound very good, and I know a big toe is not really a limb, but a limb for a limb just rolls off the tongue. So that's how it became the title of A Limb for a Limb, the 100-year-old oak that changed my life.
So you had, like, I would say, a spiritual awakening. Is that correct?
Quite a bit, yeah. Something else that we always talk about. We are entrepreneurs. I'm self-employed. I have my own businesses, and something that occurs when you're an entrepreneur and or self-employed, and something like this happens is your income goes to zero at the same blink of an eye. Now, of course, yes, I had medical insurance, but I had medical insurance with a large deductible, like most everybody in America. Right. So about 36 hours later, I'm out of the hospital, wrapped up. I had them amputate the toe because I also work in the yachting industry, and pins and operations and everything. You stub your toes all the time on a boat, and to go through that kind of pain for the rest of my life wasn't worth it to me. So, I get home, and now here I am. I'm completely incapacitated. I mean, thank God for my wonderful wife of now 33 years of marriage and 35 years together. She worked full time at home at the time, so she was able to be my caregiver and take care of me because I couldn't take care of myself for several weeks.
Right.
The little things in life, like a shower and going to the bathroom and things like that, were just a huge challenge. And so here we are looking at the bills, that Ford Motor Credit and MasterCard and Visa all don't say, "Oh, gee, we're so sorry you hurt yourself. Take a few months off. We don't need your money." Of course not. They want their money regardless.
They want their money. Of course they do.
Yeah. So hindsight, well, not even hindsight, knowledge of how to play the credit game. The first thing I did was get us both brand new credit cards with like 18 months of zero interest purchasing power and balance transfer power, because we literally lived on credit cards for the next almost year because, again, September of 19. So November, I had a second operation because everything didn't go as well as planned, and they had to do some skin grafting and things like that to get me finished up. Right. So about the second week of January is when I get back to work. That would be the second week of January of 2020. Ooh. I don't think I need to say anything more about what happened the third week of January of 2020. The country shut down.
I know. Tell me about it.
Being in the yachting industry, it's really interesting how I never knew how many germaphobes there were in the rich and famous world of the yachting owners, because they all said, "Nobody's coming and working on my boat." All the projects that we had lined up all just completely went by the wayside. These people all had big businesses who now had thousands of employees that they were having to figure out how to, help and maintain and everything else. So fixing their toy was the last thing they could think of. And of course, as an entrepreneur, there's not a lot of money out there for unemployment and all the other beautiful things that everybody took advantage of. So
right.
I found myself, yes, in a very, very dark and confused and challenged piece of my life. I mean, I literally had just turned 59 years old. My wife's a few years older than I. We're looking and planning and visioning our future and our retirement and all that, and it all went right out the window. I went almost 6 figures in debt in 1 year. So,
Oh,
here I
yeah.
am. Now I'm 60 years old and starting all over again. Now I'm 62 and I'm starting to see that little bit of a ray of sunshine at the end of my tunnel, but it's a long, hard road.
Yeah, and to endure that. And I know what it's like to lose money. I know the financial struggles are, it's just, I don't know, and you're a very strong man for persevering. So what would you say? Because I know that for men, it's hard for them to break their silence, meaning it's hard for them to share their story and be so vulnerable like yours. So, what were some of the strategies that you implemented and inspired you to share your story
Yeah.
and be a published author? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, something that I can share that I share always in these kind of conversations. It's a little twofold. I'm really blessed that I already knew of an organization prior to this, and the company is called Avaya. It's Avaya.
Okay.
And they are a free and paid membership type of service with thousands of videos. Everything you could possibly think of, from battered and abused to financial struggle to alcoholic parents to narcissism to all the maladies, all the things that could go that can create problems in people's lives are all on this amazing platform. And I share it with, I actually have dear friends that are part of that organization as well. So I share it with pride. And so I pretty much had myself set up on the living room couch because we have a pretty tall king size bed. And I literally lived in my living room for the first 30 to 60 days. We put mattresses on the floor so that at the end of the day, I literally crawled off the couch onto the floor. And that's where I did my best to sleep at night while I, cried and writhed in pain and went through all this incredible amount of mental and physical anguish and struggle. So backing up to Avaya, my morning meditation, my morning routine was the first thing after I got myself set back up on the couch with my laptop in front of me was to watch a video on this particular channel because something again that I share with everybody, if this isn't right, the rest of it isn't going to be right. The healing doesn't happen. The physical healing doesn't happen as quickly if the mind isn't behind it as well.
Right.
It takes a lot of power and a lot of strength to overcome a situation like this. Everybody's always, oh, why didn't you sue their homeowners? Well, it was an accident. It wasn't negligence on their part. My dear friends and neighbors actually came to me and said, let's bring the insurance company into it and see what happens. There's like, sorry, you didn't trip over a root sticking out of their sidewalk and bust your face. You were helping you were doing something you could have avoided.
Yeah.
So, sorry, we can't help you. So yeah, it was again, it was a long, hard struggle. And in that process, of course, I'm never going to put myself and my wife through this challenge again financially. So now it's time to start figuring out multiple streams of income. And that's when I found a writing course on write books, self-publish, and make a fortune on Amazon. A fortune including those wonderful $3.25 checks you get from Amazon for your book. But
that's crazy.
But what it did was it turned me into a writer. Now I've written, I've always been very creative writing. Actually wrote a little hand drummer's handbook a few years back because I play drums. And so I started writing my story. And this is something that I share always in these conversations is if you have gone through it doesn't even necessarily have to be an accident as traumatic as mine, a traumatic experience, a bad situation that's involved family members, loved ones, work, co-workers, whatever it is, write it down.
There you
tell,
go.
tell your story to yourself, if nothing else, because I can tell you something that happens. And you see, this is, for those that want to find it, it's not a big read. It's about 50 pages
Right.
because I tried to stay, pretty much with the meat and potatoes and add a little bit of humor along the way, which you'll find as you read it. But so what happens is you write this 5,000 words and then you start reading it. And it's like, oh, well, while I was in the hospital and this was going on, I forgot about this part of it. And then so you put that in and then you go back and you read that paragraph to see how it flows now. Oh, well, that's a little run on. Okay, let me tweak that. Let me fix that. You're an author, so
Sure, I know.
And then you go back and you read it again, and then you read on. Then you read on, and you're like, "Oh, I misspelled that word. Oh, I didn't. There's no comma there. There's this. There's that."
Right.
And you fix that, and now you come back and you read again, and then you write some more, and then you find a spot that needs some meat inside of it, and you write some more, and then you read, and 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 you read before you ever send it to be published.
Right.
And I was healed. It was a miracle. I was healed because I literally lived my story over and over and over 100 times. I was able to work through everything. And once I kind of pivoted and got over that darkness and got back into the light and started to realize that life's not over. Life just has to be figured out in a different fashion for a little while.
Right.
So I tell everybody, even if you never publish it, even if you write it all and then take it to the gun range, if you're one of those people, or take it out in the backyard to the barbecue pit and light it on fire, or crumble it and throw it away, or stick it in a drawer for those hard days when you can refer back to it and read it again to understand why you went through what you did and how you got past it. So to me, it's one of the best therapies. To me, I think it's the best therapy there is for going through a situation, besides like what we're doing now, which is sharing the story. And you're absolutely right. I have a lot of friends that, that read the book after I got it out. A lot of people helped through. I had a GoFundMe. So, and then again, we're talking during the pandemic, people were stretching to send me $20, but at the end, I autographed and mailed everybody a book that helped me. And I started getting these phone calls and these emails and stuff from my friends and going, wow, I don't know that I could share as unconditionally as you did about some of the things that you went through and everything else. And it's all part of the healing that we're all here trying to do and help each other with, so it's interesting in the beginning part of my intro, we went on to talk about how I coach and mentor and teach goal setting.
Right.
Well, that's a whole nother day and a whole nother story. But what happened was all of a sudden, again, here I am with this $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 of debt in front of me. And like, how the hell am I going to fix this? And that's how goal setting began goal setting's always been part of my life.
Right.
So my second book is Goal Setting Simplified, where I actually wrote the processes that I was living and going through to create. And then as I'm finalizing it, I'm just like, well, let's put this thing to work.
There you go.
And so it became my own guinea pig about my own teachings. And guess what? They were working.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm so glad. See, something like that coming from the depths of despair. I think that's when we shine the most. Coming from the depths of despair, because, now we're really, like myself, I climbed out of $50,000 in the hole. So talk about that, and living like a gypsy for 1 year, So being an author, and also you're on speaking stages, I see.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, that's what we're here for, is to share our words and our story. And I'm a firm believer, and I actually heard this at an event that I was at recently, a speaking training event, that the world is starving for information. The world is starving for information more than it ever has.
I was just about to say that. I just want to. Oh, Joni, hi, Joni. That's how my soon-to-be book Unlikely Riches came about. You see that? You see
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's and the stories need to be heard.
that?
And what they say, what the they people are saying nowadays is that, and again, don't shoot the messenger. Nobody wants to sit in a room and listen to Warren Buffett or Tony Robbins or Elon Musk anymore, because how do you relate to a guy who owns 42 $20 million mansions? You know, you can relate to somebody who lived as a gypsy for a year climbing out of 50 grand of debt. You can relate to a yacht technician who chopped his big toe off and now is stronger and better than he's ever been as a result of it, because we can all relate to people that have real stories to tell that don't come from this place of, you know, immense success and wealth, because it's hard for somebody who makes 20, 30, 50, $100,000 a year to relate to a billionaire.
Exactly. You know, unless you, now Joni writes, going from bankruptcy and foreclosure to homeowners in 4 years. There you go. Congratulations, Joni. See?
Wonderful.
See that? That's wonderful, Joni. What a story. What a story of resilience. And that's what your story is too, Karl. A story of resilience and triumph from that trauma that you went through. And that was like 2 years that you went through that. I mean, yeah, to go through all of that. And like I said, you know, I'm glad that you're a special guest on my podcast, because in the midst of, wow, really, Joni? Oh, praying for you. Oh, I'm so sorry, Joni. Praying for you. You're going to fight it and you're going to beat it, because you're a warrior.
And you're going to be on the stages of the world telling your story.
That's right, Joni. You are so on point. Your story is mentorship to others. Right. Our story is mentorship to others. So whatever we've gone through, we can teach others and impact others. Yeah, I hear what you're saying about Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins just had an event last week. You know, but people are going to be, I feel like with your story, a lot of men and women can relate to your story. Same with my story.
Yeah.
You know, coming from that place, because we have that authenticity. We display that authenticity, if that makes sense. So
absolutely. And the event I just came out of 2 weeks ago, you know, it was a relatively small event, around 100 people.
Okay.
And it's interesting. It's the Global Vision Conference, which I spoke on vision. The curators, the creators of this event, prefer to have this event not get much bigger than a couple hundred people ever, because the message can be delivered so much better in a smaller setting. And, you know, again, don't get me wrong. I was on Tony and Dean's summit during the pandemic, where they had 18,000 people from around the world. Sunday morning, I got called by Dean.
Really?
Oh yeah, I've got on my website is the video of he and I talking one-on-one amongst those 18,000 people around the world, because I was creating such a nuisance in my room. And he's like, Karl Fryburg, you look like you got a question for me today. And I have 3 good people in my life now that reached out to me in the chat as a result of that conversation, saying, oh my God, how do we connect with each other? So you and I actually connected at that. Guarantee we connected at that event.
We did, because I was there
until later.
I was there. That's when the whole country shut down, and I remember being home in my apartment, and it was live, and I said, I'm going to go for it. I mean, there was nothing else to do. So,
yeah.
You know, I mean, so that's awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Joey.
It was a fabulous event. Again, don't get me wrong. I just spent 2 days in a room with over 2,000 people learning how to speak from stages. But
right,
to me, people that need personal help on some level of more of how to deal with life type of things, like what we teach and what we share with each other, I just think you're better off to seek this kind of wisdom as opposed to the ginormous wisdoms, because
Mm.
You know, they're great. They're great to make this think business and think success and think future and all that, but they're not always the ones that can help unlock the little padlocks that are still up there that are not allowing you to push through whatever it is you're pushing through and move forward with it. Whereas, it just might be one thing that I say today might change somebody's life.
Exactly. And that's all it takes. That's all it takes. And Joni writes, that's my next goal, to speak on stages.
Yep.
There you go.
You need to look out and find Karl with a K on Facebook and come join the Goal Setters and Go Getters group, because we are building. Angeline's in with me. We are building a group of people that are going to be speaking on stages around the country.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And all the coaching and learning and everything's going to be within this group, because I've got some real talent coming in, and I'm just so thrilled to be part of a new movement that we are all creating as a collective.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. This is what it's all about, everyone. Building a community. And Karl, I'm so grateful that you started this community, and I'm part of your community along with, several co-authors, authors, published authors and coaches and people from all over the country. So let's talk about the Change Book series, because I know that let's talk about your story. Okay. So what inspired you to be a published author in the Change Book series, which is the largest personal development book series that is out there in the world? So Tell us about that journey.
I wanted to have my picture on the cover next to Les Brown. That's all.
There you go. Is that it?
Drop the book. No, this is, again, it's always about who you connect with, where you are, being in the right place at the right time. I was at an event in Miami, and again, it was about a 300-person event.
Wow.
In Miami last December. One of my growing up friends from high school, who I hadn't seen in 40 years, is the CEO or COO of the group that was hosting the event. And he reached out to me from California about 4 days before the event. It was like, oh my God, Karl, I'm going to be in Miami. I don't know why I didn't think of you. I came home I said, send me the link. I came home that night. I booked the hotel room for 2 nights. I bought my tickets, and I said, I'll see you Friday afternoon.
There you go.
Off I went. I mean, literally Tuesday afternoon, I'm self-employed, but I have a boss. Went to the boss, said, I'm working till noon on Friday. I was actually working on the Miami River near the Miami airport, which is where the event was. So I literally packed my weekend in my car, went to work half a day, and then went straight on to the event. Wow. So his girlfriend is Karen Hager Butler.
Yes.
Yeah. So Karen reaches out to me in early January. I've been talking with Robert, and I've read your books, and I just really think that this is a fit for you. And so, because I had literally just finished the publication of Goal Setting Simplified,
right,
and was focusing on creating and building my website and my course, that made the most sense. So my chapter is actually about goal setting.
There you go.
Yeah.
Love it.
And it's the doors that are opening as a result of being, there's something to be said about having this guy right here next to you on a front cover of a book. And the cool thing is, I mean, I know you're aware. Oh, and there's the 2 guys that create the book.
There you go.
And these 2, Jim Britt was actually like one of Tony Robbins' early mentors, and was a business partner of Jim Rohn for 25 years. So
right, exactly.
These guys are superstars in the industry. They are our colleagues. They are gracious. They have time for us. I picked up the phone. Now, I didn't get him yesterday, but I called Jim Lutz on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
There was something I wanted to run by him.
Okay.
And if he was available, he would have picked up the phone. I know we're going to talk. I know we're going to talk soon. We've already kind of back and forth. Hey, what's good for you? What's good for me? So yeah. And it's another one of those things that gives you credibility, and the other interesting thing apart, as we mentioned, international best-selling book,
Yes.
which by proxy makes me an international best-selling author.
Actually, that's true, and that goes for both of us.
Yes,
Because
yes, ma'am.
I'm in the next book, which will be released soon, by the way. And having Les Brown on the front cover and writing the foreword, that has a lot of meaning, a lot of impact, wouldn't you
Yes,
say?
absolutely.
Mm,
It's a door opener. This interview wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for this book.
right, exactly.
Well, I can't
And
say it wouldn't have, but it accelerated the process of putting you and I in front of each other. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. And, for yourself, you've been on speaking stages and you've also been a guest on podcast shows too, because of the book.
Yeah, this one makes like a dozen in 6 months. I'm doing 1 to 2 a month right now, and I'm actually going live in Australia.
What?
Yeah, February 1st. It's oh crap, tomorrow night.
I know I have a client in Australia, so
Wednesday night. It's gonna be 9:00 here my time, but it's 1:00
in
Australia
the morning.
the next day. Yeah. Again, through just the domino effect that occurs when you start getting yourself out there and you start connecting with the right people.
There you go. There you go. That's the key, is to, connect with the right people. And I'm grateful that Karen introduced me to the book series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a firecracker. She's probably brought more people into these books than anybody.
Oh, I can imagine. And
Yeah.
she brought me in, and I signed in July, I remember, after I got back from my trip to Chicago. So, and this is, see, the power of social media, to be able to connect all over the world. And I feel that the pandemic had a huge effect, meaning because people were home,
Yes.
and they wanted, and I went live almost every day. I remember during the pandemic, I would go live to connect and bond with people from all over the world. This is the power of social media, to put yourself out there, to be vulnerable and sharing your story, because like Les Brown says, we all have a voice.
Yes.
And that is one of the reasons why, you and I are in the book, because, we all have a voice. He preaches that all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
So,
a time, it's a time that our voices need to be heard. I love one of the most attractive things. Yes, it's insight into self-improvement, but the change is what attracts me, because that's what many, 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 many of us in this realm, in this spiritual world that we're connecting crazy connections with each other, is we're all looking to help make this change that this world so desperately needs, to help improve and increase the vibration, and to put all this nonsense behind us and start shining our light and letting people see the light and shine and follow the lights. Find the people that give you power, empower you.
exactly. That's what attracted me too. We're here to empower people, men and women. It's just, men are not, I feel that men need more of a voice. Their voices need to be heard.
Yes.
And, you are definitely making an impact on the world. And so, in closing, what's a special message that you would like to share with the audience that's going to be listening on Wednesday, and also for the people who are going to be watching the replay? So, what is your special message to the world?
Great. Well, it's interesting. One of my favorite just quotes always is from Sir Winston Churchill, which is never give up. And you really have to, don't go it alone. If you're struggling and you can't talk to family, again, that's a beautiful thing about social media. You can have somebody who's not necessarily a stranger, but not directly connected with your life and your surroundings, and find a pair of ears to hear your voice. Share your challenges with others. Please, please don't let it build up inside of you until it becomes a way bigger problem than it could have been. I come from a mindset that I could have just gone right down the toilet over this whole thing. I mean, it was difficult for me. The first 60 days was just extremely, extremely difficult. And there was only one of two ways to go: completely down or completely up. I chose up.
There you go.
There would be my closing note. Choose up.
Ooh. I love that.
Right down and down.
I love that.
That's brand new. That's brand new.
That's brand new. That's another. Oh my gosh. Okay. And where can people reach you? Is Facebook the best place to reach you?
Facebook, karlfryburg.com, just the way you see it spelled there. I have a very unique name. Karlfryburg.com is kind of my own personal link tree. It's got all the videos that I have been doing, all these conversations that I've been having with people. It's got my contact information, my speaker one sheet, my goal setting course, which kind of redirects you to another page, another website. Always improve. Can I continue to never ending improvement? It's always improving and growing. I'm adding new stuff almost on a weekly basis. There's going to be newsletters coming out this year. And again, Facebook I'm on LinkedIn, but I'm still working on that one. That's another project for 24 is to just to really develop out my LinkedIn page. So right now, Facebook's the easiest way to find me. And there's no other Karl with a K, Fryburg out there. So
there you go, Karl with the K. I love it. Karl with the K. I absolutely love this conversation today that we had, Karl. Thank you so much. And for those of you, if you got value from this live today, please hashtag value in the comments below. And this will be uploaded on my podcast, Let's Break the Silence with Angeline, and where we share real life stories of men and women who have gone through trauma, who have gone through some sort of trauma or domestic violence. And Let's Break the Silence with Angeline can be found on Spotify, Apple, Google, and all the live streams that you listen to. Please follow Karl with a K on Facebook right here. Okay. And, I'm just super excited to bring this to my YouTube channel, which is Let's Break the Silence with Angeline, this amazing interview on Wednesday morning at 7:30 a.m. So please be on the lookout for that. I will be posting the link in the show notes as well. And I want to wish you all an amazing day. And everyone, Joni said value. And for those of you who are going to be catching the replay, let us know, please, and let us know what your feedback is. We would love your feedback on this incredible live. So with that being said, Karl, please stay in the green room for a minute. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful new week ahead, filled with new opportunities and blessings. And how about you, Karl? Say
That's it. Have a grateful day, Karl with a K.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Take care, everyone.